Well, this is JC. I'm like some people. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to reading things. I wrote this little thing about my honey, and I got to reading it over, and I thought, gosh, it's kind of sad, really, in a way. But anyhow, I wanted to say it. I want to just say it. It's very short, not very long. It won't last very long. And the main reason I'm putting it on there is for my own benefit. If I feel like reading it sometimes, instead, I'll click on this. I'll just hear myself tell the tale. And it was a song that I learned, a Mac Davis song called Your Side of the Bed. And it didn't mean much to me, of course, until my honey went to heaven almost two or about 2.5 years ago. And then I realized, I realized what her side of the bed really was. It's not just her side of the bed. Her side of the bed was sacred. You don't think about it. You go to bed at night, you go on your side of the bed, she goes on her side of the bed, and when you get up in the morning, you do the same thing. I get up from my side of the bed, she gets up from her side of the bed, and it's just a great big bed. Um, but that's not all there is to it. And I think this song, I didn't realize it really until I tried it. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you the story now. I get to rambling sometimes. I guess I'm my own best fan when it comes to listening to my voice. Anyhow, this is a video that I put on YouTube called I Woke Up on Your Side of the Bed. And I'll just read it to you. It'll be very brief. It's funny how things seem sometimes and what we do at those times. This song I ran across reminded me of that. When my sweet wife, Donna Lee, went to heaven, I spent the first few days in a fog. I missed her so much. I kept trying to think of things to do to make it easier for her being gone. One night I got ready for bed and I decided to sleep on my sweet wife's side of the bed, just to do it, just to be nearer to her, to be close to her, to be where she was, where I knew she was. I tell you, it lasted about 30 seconds. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't sleep on her side of the bed. It wasn't my side of the bed, it was her side of the bed. If I slept on her side of the bed, it would kind of be like saying that she's not there anymore. And I still have trouble admitting that even today. She did come back and visit me a lot of times. And I'm really glad I didn't sleep on her side of the bed anyhow. I said it lasted about 30 seconds. I couldn't do it. So I got up and I straightened her side of the bed up. I have in brackets, her side of the bed was never messy, even when she was sleeping. And it never was. When she went to bed at night, her bed looked perfect. When she got out of the bed at night, she rolled over, she stood up, reached over and put her corners down on her bed, and it's just like it was when she went to bed. It was never messy. And I looked at our big old pine triple dresser. It's a big monster of a dresser. It has a huge mirror in the middle. It has 6 shelves, 3 down this side and 3 down this side, and it has doors in the center that open like this. And you put things in there and 2 shelves there. Um, and then along the mirrors up here, and then along here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something little drawers. And I had never paid any attention to this dresser. I think the only time I ever looked at it is when I opened a drawer to take out underclothes. That's about all. It was just a dresser. And I realized that these little drawers were there, and all the time we had had this since 1984. I had never looked in those little drawers. I just didn't. I never wanted to, or maybe it was 1985. So I started pulling, and I pulled this little drawer out, and there was all kinds of quarters and change in there. And I pulled this drawer out, and there were a few little odds and ends. And I pulled this drawer out, and it was stuffed full of money. I mean, it was stuffed in there so tight, bills folded up and wedged in there so tight. I counted it. I didn't count it for a long time. I didn't count it for over a year. And finally, I couldn't stand it any longer. So I counted it. There's something like $300 or $400 in there, mostly ones, but evidently she had been saving it in there for a long time because there were 2 $100 bills in there with it. And I said, here, I found a small drawer stuffed with money. It was all the tip money that we got for entertaining seniors. It was her going to Branson, Missouri, train ticket money she had been stashing away for years. When we entertained seniors, we got $5 or $6 in tips, $10, $15, sometimes $20 and $30 in tips. I counted it and folded it up and handed it to her, and I never gave it another thought. Evidently, all this time she had been putting this tip money in that little drawer because we planned on taking a train trip to Branson, Missouri, right after her operation. But needless to say, it didn't work out that way. Anyhow, I couldn't decide what to do with her clothes. I would open my side of the closet. It's packed with 80% I couldn't wear anymore. They were too small for me. And I'd open her side and her side. She had such beautiful clothes. She had wonderful taste in everything. Everything about her was strictly upper class. Everything about her was perfect. She did everything perfectly. She acted perfectly. She was the best cook in the world. She painted. She was the best painter that you could ever want, painting oil pictures. She knew all about wines. We had a bar in Modesto, at least the Sandalwood Club on Yosemite Boulevard. I played the music and drank beer, and she took care of all the booze, and she knew every drink there is. She knew all about it because she had cocktailed and she attended bars before we married. And so she knew everything, and she was good with her hands. She did little craft things. She made little houses and just made all kinds of things. She tatted, she knitted, she crocheted. She did just about everything. She was just perfect in everything. Anyhow, I better get back to this. Her clothes, she had such beautiful clothes. She had one formal dress that she wore when we went to my daughter Veronica's wedding. It's the only time, and I wore a tuxedo. This is the only time in our 38 years of marriage that we dressed exactly like this, was for that occasion. And I didn't know what to do with them. I would look in the closet and then I'd close the door. And next time I go in the bedroom, I'd open it and just look in the closet again and see her blue jeans hanging up there, her little skirts, her little blouses, little body blouses with just a little strap going over here and coming down like this. Her little dresses, she had little dresses, some of them flared out with pleats on the bottom. She had a little rack down here with all of her shoes in it, shoes in this rack, and then down underneath were more shoes. Up at the top, she had 7 or 8 different hats that she wore for different occasions. She didn't wear anything very much, mostly the same clothes over and over, but everything she had was beautiful. And people say, well, I know this place, where they take these clothes and they give them to needy people. So I thought about doing it. I went in there one day, I thought about packing them. I said, I can't do that. They're beautiful right where they are. Just leave them there. So I left them there. There's a picture of them in the video. They were still there November the 28th of last year, 2011, when I packed my things to move to Modesto. And of course, I had to pack them then. I never used her bathroom in the master bedroom. It didn't have it. Well, it had a shower, but it had a bathtub, and I don't like a bathtub, so I would go out in the hallway and go in through another bedroom into another bathroom we had there that had a shower, a big shower in it, and I would shave and everything in that, and I wouldn't have to disturb her or her little dressing table there with her mirror, and it was always perfect. She had her little perfume bottles and her little lipsticks were standing all over this little thing, and they were exactly where she wanted them, and she knew exactly where everything was. And so I was very careful not to bother anything, not to move anything around, except once in a while I move it a little bit to dust around it if it got a little too dusty in there. But mostly I didn't. It was still that way on November the 28th of 2011 when I packed to move to Modesto. I don't know what I would have done if somebody had come in and say, Dad, I want to use the bathroom in here. I guess I would have said, no, you can't do that. This is Donna's bathroom. Use the one out there. Anyhow, I mostly left them just like they were because she never moved them, and so I never moved them either. And besides, kind of having her things around even here makes it a little bit easier. She's such a wonderful oil painter. She paints. I put one of her paintings in this video on my walls here. Every wall here has painting on it. Has one of her paintings. I'll show you here. Let me. I'll just show you. You think I'm putting you on or something. Here's one right here. That's one of her paintings. See that one over there? That's one of her paintings. They're everywhere. On every wall has one of her beautiful oil paintings. And she was just excellent at it. She just was excellent at anything she decided that she wanted to do. She did it well. She did everything very well. So anyhow, she even had a little clock. I have a picture of that little clock in the video. Little clock still ticks. When I go into the bathroom, I hear it ticks, but the hands, they've stopped. They don't move anymore. But I let it tick. I kind of like it. And I still lay in bed at night. I used to go to bed and sleep after Donna did. She would go to sleep earlier than me, and she snored, but she was very polite. She kind of whispers, snored. You could barely hear, like this, barely hear her snore. And because of a hip replacement, I had gotten a habit of getting up around 12 or 1 o'clock, wake up and go into sit in my chair so I could raise my knee up and lay my leg over like this because it hurts at night. And I still do. I still do it almost every night. But I'd be lying in bed and, I'd be thinking about us, and I would sort of just move my hand over very gently until it just touched her side somewhere for a few seconds, and then I'd move it back, and I felt good again. I'd go ahead and go to sleep. Anyhow, you know what? I still can't sleep on her side of the bed. I went in there yesterday or day before yesterday after I made this video, just for the heck of it. And I lay down on her side of the bed, and it felt so strange. I couldn't stay, so I just got up and I just leave her side of the bed for her. Who knows? Maybe she'll come back someday. You never know. I mean, God does mysterious things sometimes. But anyhow, it's nice to think about. And I put a PS down here. It says, "Don't be sad about all this," because I know now from 2.5 years that this feeling never goes away, but it gets easier to think about and to talk about, which is what I couldn't do for a year. I couldn't talk about it at all. And we do what makes us happy, and being here with my little honey's things and talking about her now makes me happy. And I thought maybe if you saw this video, it might make you a little bit happy too. Besides, it's a pretty good song. It's a pretty good song, and I do say so myself. I do a reasonably good job on it. So anyhow, this is JC. I'll come back. Like I said, I did this mostly for my own benefit, so I can come back and listen to myself talk about my most favorite subject in the world, my sweet baby in heaven, my sweet Donna Lee. And we'll see you down the road if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise.